I'm Justin Barsha, and you're listening to the Motoxpod Show.
Hey, this is Ralph Shaheen from Fox Sports, the home of Supercross. You're listening to the Motoxpod Show, and I'm a Niner fan, and we're going to take the Cowboys down.
Yeah!
Welcome to the Motoxpod Show, starring Darkside, his co-host Scotty, sometimes TJ.
Hey, we are back. Excited to be back for another episode of the Motoxpod Show. Turn my headphones down a little bit here. What'd you think of that new, that little new intro there?
I like it.
Yeah?
Sometimes TJ.
Sometimes TJ. Not often TJ, but sometimes. That was pretty cool. I can't tell you who sent that to us. It's top secret. But I thought it was pretty cool. He sent the audio. I added the music in the background.
Yeah,
I like it. So I think we're going to start using that. This week, it's episode 220. I want to thank our title sponsor, Cherubies USA. You guys know it for decades. Cherubies USA has been the leader in moto plastic and accessories. The products that fit perfect, look great, and last. Cherubies has what you need. Whether it's full plastic kits, individual pieces, hand guards, chain guides, and sliders, or anything else they offer, visit CherubysUSA.com and support our title sponsor. Follow them on Instagram and let them know you're listening. Also, of course, Racetech is the world's largest aftermarket suspension modification company. That's a mouthful to say. All Racetech products include award-winning gold valves, and settings are 100% guaranteed and made in the USA. Excuse me. Racetech also offers state-of-the-art precision engine services and parts to all engine builders. Visit racetech.com for more info and use promo code MOTOXPOD, all one word, to save. You guys know Fly Racing's on board. X-Brand Goggles, Works Connection. We're going to talk about all those guys a little bit later. Torque One Racing, R Jerky, promo code MOTOXPOD21 to save. Ate a bunch of that watching San Diego on the couch this weekend and watching my 49ers beat up Green Bay. They didn't really beat them up. We'll talk about that if we have some time. I'm sure everybody wants to hear about some football talk. Bermlords Graphics and Jersey ID. Hit up on email, graphics@bermlords.com, man, for any graphic ideas, any jersey lettering. Those guys will take care of you. Shock Socks. Williams Motor Works, Extreme Colors Helmet Painting, Blood Lubricants, the best oil on the market. Promo code MOTOX to save at checkout. Power Band Racing for you WP guys, and True Fusion Sports. Tonight we're going to have the True Fusion Sports Derek Kelley check-in. We're going to have the Racetech, what are we calling that now? Man, the Racetech Privateer Profile. Something like, I can't even remember what the hell I called it, but
that we're doing that.
Yeah, we're doing that with B. Ray, Brandon Ray, made his first main at San Diego. I'm not real sure how I feel about B. Ray. I haven't talked to A. Ray to see if B. Ray is okay. But until I get the ixnay on the B. Ray from A. Ray, I just thought of that on the fly.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like straight up Eminem right here.
I don't know about the word fly, but
whatever, bro. Fly Racing. FlyRacing.com. But anyway, yeah, Brandon Ray is going to come on, and Justin Hill. He had to cancel last week. Had a lot of people go, oh, surprise, surprise. You know, Justin was sick. Justin's coming on tonight. It's been a long time since we talked to Justin Hill. Really excited about that. We forgot to give away the AP toy that's sitting here on the table. The small scale autographed Aaron Plessinger toy. Let's come up with a trivia question of some kind.
Okay.
You know what? Let's do this. All right. So Brandon Ray made his first main. I want to know what position he qualified in. So you got to go do a little research, find out what position he qualified at San Diego, and email us motoxpodshow@gmail.com. Having a hard time talking tonight. I just got done stuffing some tacos down my throat.
Yeah, it looks good.
I'm a little gassy.
Tacos and fries, yeah.
yeah, tacos and fries. But anyway, motoxpodshow@gmail.com. Let us know Brandon Ray's qualifying position at San Diego, and we'll pick a random winner for this Aaron Plessinger autographed toy. I think my My mic stand is broke. So, yeah, lots going on tonight.
Yeah,
But anyway.
keeps you on your toes.
We're back, episode 290, 220.
290. Damn, we
we skipped
skipped into the
ahead.
future.
We are jumping ahead to, real quick, talking about Arizona next week.
Yeah,
Glendale.
well, I guess next week.
Yeah, next, not this weekend, but next about a week
weekend, yeah.
away, and you'll be going to your first Supercross
Yeah.
as a
I had
media
been
guy.
I had been kind of like, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's cool. I've been kind
Yeah.
of telling everybody like, yeah, I'm doing this, doing that.
Yeah.
But I kind of, in my head, I was like, I'm not there yet. It's not official. But when I got here today, you told me that my credentials went through, and
Sean texted me today.
so
Says you're good.
So I'm now it's kind of sinking in that like, oh, it's really gonna happen. So
Yeah.
I'm pumped. To me, it's it's the next step towards growing into this and growing this with you. So I'm looking forward to it, and I don't even know what to expect. So I'm gonna be pumped. I'm gonna
It'll
be
a good time.
pumped.
So hopefully Glendale will be as exciting as San Diego was.
I am a little on the fence with the Triple Crowns. I've been to one in Dallas. I think it was the 2020 was when they did it.
Yeah, I think so. Yep.
And it was cool. I liked that everything was a main, but like, I don't know. It didn't have the same vibe. It didn't have the same vibe of all that anticipation built to the main, and then so it'll be interesting to see. But I think it's going to make for some good racing. We're going to get to see a lot of little subplots.
Yeah, we're gonna
go
have
into a big
race.
Futures race.
I
That'll
think
be cool.
Doc's gonna be racing.
That'll be cool.
Yeah, we'll have it's gonna be good, man. I like the Triple Crowns, but San Diego 2 first-time winners.
Yeah.
Chase Sexton, Michael Mosman.
One was called. You heard it first on the Motoxpod show by Scotty T.
I don't remember that
called
at all. I do remember saying, I've been on the Michael Mosman train for a long time.
I was almost 2 for 2 because I picked Hunter in the 250s.
Yeah.
And if he
Get
hadn't
the
got
job done though.
Yeah, but I said almost.
Yeah. And then Brandon Ray making his first main. So a lot of firsts at San Diego. Pretty cool. We had the Bogle Barsha debacle.
Yeah.
That was entertaining.
Yeah.
Have you gotten through the Bogle interview?
yeah,
I heard you listen to Pulp when you pulled up.
Yeah, that was the.
Dude, so much respect for that guy.
I just finished Bogle and was starting and was in the middle of Cooper.
Yeah, so much respect for Bogle with his interview last night.
Yeah.
I'm sure most of you have already listened to Pulp if you're listening to this, but dude, so much respect. That was great.
Going through some tough
We're
times.
definitely going to talk about that on the wrap up tomorrow night. But yeah, San Diego is good, man. Marchbanks had some issues. Typical racing stuff. Jason Anderson probably is your winner, if not for the faulty
Dude, he was catching them fast.
radiator cap.
Yeah.
Yeah,
have you watched the breakdown of when he jumped off the track and then doubled back on?
Yeah.
Dude,
that whole sequence was unreal. Like multiple times during that little sequence, could he have just ended his night?
Yeah, just completely done.
Yeah.
And then I was kind of having a chuckle to myself. You got to think that Tomac was like, yeah, I remember that bike.
Well, I wanted to ask him that in the press conference, and I was sort of beaten to it. I think Iser might have asked.
Someone said something about it.
Similar question. He just asked, "Did you see it?" But my thing was, when you saw it, were you like,
yeah, I've been there,
that
bud.
was what I wanted to ask, but I didn't get the chance. And I texted Daniel. I was like, dude, I want to ask this question. Try to, I was hoping he'd get to me, but.
He's like, now you'll know why I wasn't going that fast.
Yeah, he had to, he has to go through it in the way we put our hands up or whatever. But Cooper Webb looked good. Didn't win. Like I think I called Cooper to win, but I think he's getting better and he's stronger as the season goes.
If I'm one of the guys in the top 10, Sexton makes me nervous. Anderson makes me nervous.
Dylan looked good.
Dylan, yeah, but I don't. He hasn't proven enough to say I'm nervous yet.
Not yet.
But he's on the right path. I will agree to that. And then if you kind of got to say, well, like Coop's struggling and he's only a point back, so you got to think that at some point he's going to figure it out. And so I think those are the guys that, for some reason, are the ones that make you nervous. And I don't think anybody would ever have picked Anderson being one of those guys, but. If he can keep that going, he's straight up was just going faster than everybody.
Dude, I picked Dylan Ferrandis at the beginning of the season, and I got to back off that. Like, it's pretty unlikely that Dylan's going to win the championship now.
I think he puts in some. I think he wins.
Yeah, I think he's going to do well. He's going to get better, but yeah, I think the championship's gone. I kind of shifted to Cooper Webb. I still think it's Cooper Webb, but the next guy behind Cooper, like my 1A is Jason. Jason is a totally different Jason mentally. You can see it.
Yeah.
And he's consistently riding really well. Like, we don't see him falling off the pace and almost like where we thought he was giving up. We don't see that yet. Obviously, we're only 3 rounds in, but something has shifted. Maybe it's just the new team, new life, and he just wants to prove something. And so, I think Daniel Blair last night said that he talked to him, and he's like, I'm not ready to be done. And there's new guys going to be moving up from the 250 class.
Yeah.
Those guys start moving up. They start pushing us out. I don't want to be one of those guys that gets pushed out. So he has new motivation, clearly. I wish we could talk to him.
Yeah,
and we may next weekend.
I don't know if it was after the first round or before the first round, but I was saying that I feel like if anybody is a plug and play kind of rider that can come into a program and go into a bike that they have it set up the way they like it set up, and have him come in, I think that he was
that comfort.
Yeah, I feel like he was going to be the best guy for that, and he's proven it. I mean, he's straight up. I mean, he was fast, and so
he looks good. I mean, his quarter speed's ripping.
And luckily for him, there's so much inconsistency in the top 10 that those two, he hasn't. He won, and then has had 2 bad situations happen.
Yeah.
So to have 2 bad situations, 1 good race, momentum to build, and then not be out of the points lead for everybody to be right there, I don't think that he's put himself too far back to where he can't, with that speed, he can come back out of that.
Yeah, I think he's definitely in it.
I don't know that I think if Sexton had finally saw how fast he was catching on him, I don't know if Sexton would have tried to heat it up a little bit and maybe try to push a little more, because he was kind of keeping that 6, 7, 8 second range. And then once Anderson started cutting into that, who knows if maybe he picks that up a little bit. We didn't get enough time to really see that because the bike started going out. But
right.
I have a feeling that he was going to catch him.
Yeah, I think it was very, very likely. And I want to talk about Christian's ride.
That
we're we only got 5 minutes.
Yeah, that was
before Justin. Well, I guess we got time. That's pretty gnarly.
What percentage pie? How much percentage do you get of just straight out Ball's impressive ride, or straight up there's just not enough field to hold him back?
50-50.
50-50?
Yep. Definitely not enough field, but like the way he was coming through the field and he was catching the leaders also, that's the speed and the maturity and experience. And part of it was just the field's not that deep once you get past the top 6 or so.
He went down hard in that first corner.
Yeah. But in my mind, like what I asked him this in the press conference, like, okay, if you and I go, we're in a race, first turn, we crash, like it's panic. Gotta get up. I gotta kickstart the bike. Oh, I gotta get it neutral. Oh. And like, he's just checking things out. He's looking for the oil, that he saw. He's trying to figure it all out. Like, I'm like, dude, were you full panic? Were you having to tell yourself, calm down?
Yeah.
It's okay. And it's just like, man,
he took about a lap or two, and all of a sudden you just saw it turn on
the bike. Like, it wasn't like him, like, we'd be dragging our bike, like trying to get it out from under the other bike, throwing the other guy out off the way. Like, full panic is how I would be anyway.
Yeah.
He was cool and calm for the most part, kept his head on straight, didn't just like jump on the bike and dump the clutch and take off. He looking back, making sure everything's cool.
I mean, yeah, he's a cool cucumber, man.
Dude.
Yeah.
It was impressive. Like, if obviously we've said this, and I mean, he's the guy to beat.
Yeah.
And I think that ride right there proved it more than anything.
I think so too. I mean, like, yeah, he's. I mean, you got to Hunter. You got to for him. You got to think like, that was the chance to get back into the title thing. And he made the points gap smaller. It's 6 points now, but you had to think that he was going to get to maybe like 5th or 6th. That you didn't. Yeah. I don't think anybody thought that he was going to, because the other guys that went down too, Shimoda, Marchbanks didn't even finish. Shimoda, and then there was somebody else that went down too. Shimoda only got up to like 7th, and he was up before Christian was. So right. Christian passed those guys and then gapped them even more. So he's definitely a head and shoulders above the field. And if that's his one bad race, then
then that was pretty good, right?
Yeah, then I think he's gonna. I think he's gonna be okay.
Does Moseman win another one this year? Does it get easier now?
From the perspective of monkey off his back, yeah, I think he was kind of one of those guys. It's kind of funny how it worked out, because both main event winners kind of was the same story. Like, when is he going to win? When is he going to win? And then they both won. And so now I think Chase and Michael both have got that monkey off their back, so kind of limited potential to see what they can do. I don't think both of them ceiling just went up a lot, so it'd be kind of cool to see where it takes them. I don't know. Christian's just like, I mean, he's the guy. So if you get in, Mosiman held off Hunter that whole main. Like Hunter definitely was probably a little faster than him, but he did enough to just kind of maintain himself. So I don't know. It was impressive. I think that it does confidence boost for him, and who knows what he can do now.
Yeah. All right, let's take a commercial break. We'll be back with Justin Hill. Did you hear that pop? All right, here we go. All right, our first guest of the night is brought to you. Who's he going to be brought to you by tonight, Scotty? Works Connection. Let's go Works Connection. Since the inception of Works Connection in 1989, Eric Phipp's goal has been to produce Works-like products for the general public. Products like industry standard Pro Launch Start Device, the Elite Clutch Perch, radiator braces, customized master cylinder covers, and much more. It's hard to imagine you not going to WorksConnection.com so you too can have what the pros use. Tonight, Works Connection brings us an old friend. He hasn't been on in a while, but he's back. Justin Hill. What's up, buddy?
Oh, not much, man. I'm happy to be back on here, though.
I am so excited, man. When I talked to Julian at A1, and he's like, yeah, man, I'm going to talk to Justin. And then I texted you, and you've been busy with life and different things going on, and I wasn't sure if you'd respond, and you did. I was like, oh, he's back. I was stoked, dude.
Man, it's funny. I just, throughout all my career, it's like I've done, hit and miss little things, right? Little radio shows or whatever it is. And it's just like, I just am not a big, I'm not a big social media guy. And I'm just not a big media guy. I don't know what it is about me, because it's funny. Like my brother's the dead opposite. Like he's such the social guy, and he has such a good public face on. I'm just like, no, I'm just gonna like hide in my house. You know what I mean? But I do always enjoy talking to you, man. And I see you out, and you're such a cool guy. And I'm always thinking, God, if I'm gonna do it, I need to do Dark Side. It's just,
well, that means a lot, man. And we talked about this before you stepped away from the sport. Well, actually, you had kind of stepped away, and you were going, training to become a sheriff. And you're like, dude, we'll talk after that goes down. You had a lot going on, and just things happen, and we never really got back together. But I want to go back, man. Like, how did that all come about, dude? What I guess you've always wanted to be in law enforcement. Like, how did that come about? How did it go? Give us the background on that.
Yeah. It's funny because I've always had it in my mind. It's something I've always wanted to do. For me, growing up, I'm from the sticks. I've always been a country boy. I've always had these country boy values, and I thought that would be kind of a career path that would suit me, just for a lot of things. I'm an active, athletic guy, and I feel like I have some other skills that would suit the job. And so it's funny. It's kind of no matter where I was in life, I was always thinking at one point in my life, I'm going to go try to do this. Like, I really want to give it a shot and see if it's for me. And, truthfully, it only isn't for me in the state of Oregon. And it's so sad to say.
Okay.
Not to say that there isn't. I guarantee you that there's 1,000 other problems that I would find right in a different state if I was in law enforcement in that state, right? But being a cop kind of ruins you for your area. Like, and for me, where it was exciting was that I was doing the job. I got sworn in. Originally I was going to be a few weeks with my phase 1 TO, and then like a week or so with my second phase TO before I actually went to my Deep SST certification to go to the academy.
Okay.
So I was in FTEP for a little while, like patrolling, and the calls were mine. And I was doing it. It was wild. It was so fast. It happened so fast. But to back up from there, like when I first got into, when I first pulled the trigger and said, yeah, this is something I want to do, I was definitely encouraged. I had two good buddies that were on with DCSO, which Douglas County Sheriff's Office is full of 11 out of 10 dudes. Like you'll never. It's the thing that I miss probably the most about doing it is you'll never have that many good people to work with. I mean, they're really the quality of our area, and
Awesome.
so it was great. I got to know some of those guys, but yeah, two of my buddies that I knew. My one buddy is a sergeant in my portion of the county up here in North County, and my other buddy, my riding buddy, is he just had retired, but before he did, I went and rode around with both of them, and so they were kind of like, yeah, not necessarily twisting my arm, but just showing me the cool side of the job, right? And I was jazzed about it when I went out with them and seen it, and I'm like, oh, this is definitely something I can do.
Yeah.
I could myself doing the day and day, with this, and I romanticize about the 9 to 5 guy. I have so much respect for like the clock in, clock out guy. Like
Yeah.
I really do. I always have, and I've always been like a worker bee like that. Like I'm really blue collar in a lot of ways. So being a professional athlete and limelight guy, it doesn't suit me. Another reason why I'm not a big media guy. But anyway, so yeah, I rode around with my couple buddies, and then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do it and kind of start getting into the hiring process, and I was graciously put through. I was the old saying of it is who you know. I mean, in this situation, it really was. I had some really, really great people on my side, people singing praises for me as the type of person that I am, and I was able to get in, and I was really, really proud. I was like, the pride when I strapped up the boots and was in uniform, man, it was great. I was like, I'm not worthy thing. Like, it was neat. But what really was like kind of the beginning and the end for me was my big drive to be in law enforcement is to chase dope. I in my area especially, I see what dope does.
Mm-hmm.
It's so simple. Like that was my one big motivation, and you have to have one. You've got to have one in law enforcement. Like if it's chasing DUIs and you find that to be the most important thing in life, and you do that, then that's great. If it's there's certain things that guys are like, I think that is the heinous, and I want to change it, right? And that's,
Okay, yeah.
It's very important to have that motivation. So for me, it was the dope. I was like, I want to do everything in my power, and I'm going to spend all day getting these dopers, jamming them up every possible turn, and letting them know that I'm here to stop this problem or help with this problem. And so right when I had got in and kind of started, not in, but like I was, let's just say like 30-40% through the hiring process, we had a massive change in the state of Oregon, which is Measure 110, which is all drugs under a specific amount are decriminalized completely.
Oh, okay.
So if you get caught with a gram of meth, you get a ticket like you're speeding.
Okay.
You get your 10 miles and over, moving violation.
Yeah.
Speeding ticket for having a gram of meth.
Wow.
So it's silly. And nowadays it's like the fine is even less. Now it's like $60. If you don't, and if you call a certain number for these rehabilitation centers, you can get out of it. It's like,
Okay.
it's
Yeah.
so silly, and it was listed on our ballot in a very bureaucratic way of fluffing it on one end and just it being an absolute evil thing on the other end, which was kind of a front piece, like saying, would you like to allocate X amount of funds from certain drug offenses to create these rehabilitation centers. And it's like, it sounded great.
Sure.
And then you read the back and you're like, heroin and meth and LSD, all this stuff, it's all decriminalized. You're
Wow,
like, okay, what? Hang on, that's different than what you just said. So it got really weird, really fast, and the department, credit to the guys that are there for the long haul, that are just like, dude, these guys take it on the chin bad. I mean, they really do. And they still show up, and they still eat shit on so much every day. It's like that is the toughest job in the world. Those dudes literally deserve to be the guys getting paid the NFL salaries. Like they need to flip flop, and these guys need to get paid because it's. And you know, not to say that they're a low paying. You know, they make a good wage, and there's plenty of work there too. If you're a worker bee and you just want to get after it, you spend a lot of hours in that patrol car. I mean, a lot.
Okay.
And
yeah.
So it's pretty. It's a good deal if you just live and breathe it. The things that I found about it pretty quickly was that I'm a really, really active guy. I've always been very active. If I'm not training on a bike, I'm training on something else. And if I'm not training on something else, I'm training on something. I've always been really athletic and active. Now, being in a patrol car sitting for like 12 hours every shift was a really it was kind of a peek into my future of that job very quickly. It was like in a couple months, I was feeling some pretty big health declines almost immediately. So
yeah, I can imagine.
It was just very, very different. And I don't think I'm suited for that. There's a lot of things in the job that I'm not suited for sure. But I think that was probably the one where me and my wife were looking at each other just going, I don't know if this is it.
Yeah.
Because I was seeing you're a really busy person too when you're in law enforcement. I mean, you just don't. You have the time. Like some days, it's nice to have your 3 days off sometimes, and there's tons of perks with the schedule, but you kind of don't feel like doing anything. And I'm a really extracurricular guy. Like I really like to do, as you know, and as the whole community, I'm sure, is frustrated for the last 10 years with me, as I like to do other things other than just one thing, right?
Yeah, that's funny.
So, yeah, I mean, it's something that I was like, yeah, there was a lot going against it, and really the big driving force would have been if I could have chased the dope, I would have stayed in it and made the better. And tried to make the better of it for sure, because that goal was there for me to chase.
They took it away.
But with that gone, it was very, very hard for me to find the motivation to settle down for the next 25 years to do that job. And also, you know, I was so unsure about it at that point. That was the big reason for my kind of dramatic descent, when I resigned rather quickly, because my department, which I still to this moment have so much respect for, and God, to do what they do is pretty gnarly, and it's not lost on me, I was about to, make them spend a lot of money on me.
Sure.
To send me. So it was like, I hum haul and go and make them make this big investment in me just to resign 3 months after I get my certification. That to me, that didn't feel right. So I was like, I'm going to put myself in a worse position by doing this now, but it's like, I feel it's the right thing to do kind of deal. So we just did that. And, initially I was kind of lost for a second, because I'm just like, okay, the thing that I thought I wanted to do for my whole life, I don't want to do. So there's that. And, I still don't want to go back racing at this point. It's like, I still don't have the, I really, when I took my year off, it was the best thing in the world that I could have done as far as my motivation for racing. Like I just didn't have it. I was really, really, really burnt out. And as somebody might be after doing something since they're 3, I was burnt out.
Of course. So, yeah, it makes sense.
There's that. And, when it came down to it, and I took my year off, and then I went and worked over at this tire center in Roseburg, the Oregon Tire Center. My father-in-law, he's been working with these guys for 30 years. He's the OG over there. So I'm like, I'm gonna go sling tires with him, he's my buddy, and it was actually a ton of fun. I had a bunch of fun working that job, and that was kind of what I did while I was in the process of getting hired at the sheriff's office.
Okay, yeah.
So I kind of did a couple different little 9-to-5 things, and I got some normal life work experience, and that's the thing too, is now it's like there's light at the end of the tunnel for me as far as just my life, because I really enjoyed some of the stuff I did off of racing, But when kind of the calendar year hung up, it was like, okay, I'm 26 and I like really want to go race again. I feel like I'm having a really fun time on the bike. I'm just really digging it. You know, my daughter's a little bit more grown up now. We're kind of in a slightly different family transition. So my daughter was first born. It was literally, I could care less what I did. It didn't matter. I just wanted to just watch her grow up. And I realize now that I still get to do that in almost every capacity, and maybe even with a little bit more freedom if I'm racing. And you do kind of almost have to just buckle everybody into this big shit called the sport, and just you guys go around together.
Right.
So
yeah.
There's some advantages with doing it for a living still. So I'm just like, man, I'm 26. I'm really enjoying riding again. I think I ought to jump back in. I mean, I took 1 year off. What kind of an edge have I lost in 1 year of actual rest? You know, it's like, so, you know, that's where the deal came up. And really, I just wanted to get out and train with Bishelia. You know, our whole lives spent together, and the years that we were, you know, roommates doing this sport together, we never really got to like actually work together that like to the capacity that we wanted to. So
yeah.
So I was jazzed to get out there and just work with him. And honestly, we really had a plan, and it really, as far as our physical side, you know, my physical side, me and him coming together and writing our programs up and doing, you know, when we were able to execute what we wanted to, I was really excited because truthfully, I was in the best shape of my career. I felt like I was really, really, really ready to go. So, you know, it's a shame that I didn't get to show that, you know, this time around, but, honestly, it's, you know, I hate the it is what it is thing, because it's just, life is what it is.
Yeah.
All the time.
You don't really, you're really not in control.
Yeah, no, it's really hard to be. It really is. But at my older age, it's like I'm really starting to try to like grasp for more,
Sure.
control over what I'm doing, because I don't know. You know, as I get older, I make obviously way less knee-jerk decisions, and obviously have a lot more time in. Like, I feel like I have all the tools necessary now to really do this thing right. So, which is exciting, you know. If and when I get kind of the shoulder back to where I really, really feel it's 100% again, I'm excited. I really want to just go right back to it. I haven't lost if anything, I'm just like really longed for it. I'm really longing for it more now because of the level that I reached, and I kind of got there quick. Like I didn't expect to. It probably took me 2 or 3 weeks to feel like I was really getting the speed back already.
Okay. Yeah.
And then the conditioning came even quicker than I thought it would too. So it's like, and keep in mind that the year that I spent off, I was literally, you know, not riding, not running, just lifting weights. So I was 200 plus. I was lifting.
Right.
So I was like, dude, this is going to take some time, bro. I'm going to have to go like this. My body's going to have to go through a complete change. Right. Well, yeah, I did. But as soon as I stopped lifting and started running, it just happened really quick. It was like, oh, okay, I'm good. I feel like I could still kind of, you know, like lose a little bit here, you know, and touch my shoulders again. That'd be nice and this and that. But it's like, it wasn't as big of an issue or anything as I thought it would be. It was almost like I spent the last year just strength training, and now I can just start my program over. So it was kind of, you know, seamless in a way. You know, obviously now is kind of the monkey wrench, you know, an injury is what puts everything kind of back on hold. It's like, I didn't have an injury for a year. I just lifted weights and did normal jobs, and
kind of forgot about the injuries.
Yeah. Like I honestly, my body was just like, oh God, dude, like you don't do this stuff all the time anymore. And, you know, maybe I grew an inch back. I don't know. But it was, it felt really fresh. And, you know, but more than anything, obviously the mindset was fresh, which was kind of the whole point. And, you know, when I told my brother that I wasn't going to race in 21, he was just like, dude, stop it. Yeah, you
right.
are.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I'm like, Josh, I'm serious. I'm done. I'm not going to race this year. I'm like, look, there's these things that I want to do. I have all these other aspirations, right? That I want to do, and the love for this isn't there right now, you know. And I'm like, maybe it will be back in 3 weeks when I've just finally made the decision. Maybe it'll be back in a year. Maybe it won't come back at all.
Yeah.
I really don't know. But here's the thing, like, I don't have it right now, so there's really no need to even discuss it further. Like, I don't have it right now, so I'm not going to take this big risk and do all this, right? So I was able to kind of just like tie up some other loose ends, spend some time with my kid and do this and that. And then when the buzzer of the year went up, it's like, oh, shoot, I really would like to go back. And it was kind of spur from, we went and did this local race up here at Washougal, and I went and rode like a couple of times the whole year. And I went up there and I had to race Benny Bloss and Beer and a couple of the other guys. And it was like, I didn't really have anything in line to go do that. Like, I wasn't really riding fast. I wasn't in shape at all. I half a lap, and it was the worst arm pump of my life. I was just lifting. I wasn't riding.
Yeah, I get that. I totally understand that.
It was horrible, and I went up there and raced these guys, and we signed up for 3 classes. God forbid we sign up for 2 and give me, a little bit. But anyway, we signed up for 3 classes, right? So I'm banging back to back on the 20-minute motos up there, and I'm like, okay, dude. When I finished I was sitting there with my uncle when I finished the weekend, and I'm like, Chuck, I'm so disappointed that this is the level of racing that I have right now. I mean, I'm so disappointed. Like, I've never, I haven't felt like this is what I could do on a bike. I don't think ever. I think I've always, my whole life, felt like I could do more than that. Even when I was sitting, even when I had a busted ankle laying there, whatever. I was like, it always felt like I had it in me more than that. And I'm like, I think I got to go back to the drawing board and see what I want to do here. And so it was almost like realizing that I was physically at rock bottom as far as bike ability. It was like a really big deal for me. I was like, oh, I don't like this. I can't be me and suck at this. It's not okay.
I love it. Let me say a couple things here, because you're giving us so much good information, and there's a lot of stuff that you've said that, like, I'm super impressed with. Like, you're still racing in 20, but you realize you don't really have the passion for it. Like, I want to spend time with my kid. I want to see my kid grow up. And you could have, like, I want to ask you about this in a little bit, but the rumor was, there was a contract on the table from MCR, and you chose to not deal with it. Like, you knew, I'm not there right now. I have this other passion I want to explore. And then you decided to go explore becoming a sheriff, something you want to do. And then, doing that, and you realize, okay, it changed in the process. They took the passion I had for it, the goal that you talked about, and that went away. So I don't want to do these guys wrong. And then you realize, well, I needed some time off the bike. Like, everything you're saying is impressive. And it's like these realizations of your life in just a couple year period that, I don't know, it shows a lot of maturity. I think it's really interesting, the changes you've gone through, the life ups and downs, or, it's just really interesting.
Well, I mean, to me, it's just like a bunch of growing up. Like, I had, it's hard to change a mindset, I feel like. So in 20, I feel like 20 could have been like such a great year. And honestly, in a lot of ways it was. I was super, super motivated because I was obviously going, from kind of the struggles that I was having really just to get the Suzuki set up. Mm-hmm. It was like, and that's a whole, not to go sideways again, but that's a whole other thing. Bringing what I know right this second back to like my years at JGR, to kind of like the old saying of like helping them help me, right? It's like, I think that could have been very different. So it's just a bunch of growing up, like these little diversions that I've had. But like, the year 20 that you touched on, it's like I had two races that 100%, like all day long, kicking myself, should have been podium races, or a little bit earlier, kind of early to mid-season in 20. Was, I was fast every weekend. Like I had the speed, it was like I was really starting to come into my own, and obviously my best finish in Tampa, and then even Daytona. I don't know what I ended up 8 or 9 at Daytona, but it was like a way back start, a crash, of this, of that. And
Yeah.
still, like, it didn't matter. It seemed like I was in the kind of in the money, so to speak, like, in the thick of it within those top, anywhere from 8 to 4 guys. Like, that's who I was battling with. And it seemed like I was on an upward roar. Like I was really starting to get it. And, truthfully, it was just derailment of the whole series, when that happened, and being off the bike for that whole entire time. Then by the time when we come back to Salt Lake and I had no bike time at all, I was so, I thought the days of showing up with the issues and not being able to be fully prepared were behind me. And then when I showed up at Salt Lake City with no ability to have the preparation that I needed, that was like the not the straw that broke the camel's back, but I would say, club mindset wise,
Yeah.
that really took it out of me. The 7 weeks of just like, okay, I'm at 0. These guys are still kind of hanging out at 80, and I need to be at 80 in 4 days or whatever it is.
Right.
It's like that's so it's so much to ask of yourself, mindset and body. So at the end of 20, like you're saying with that transition, I'm like, am I really ready to go through this again, where it just kind of seems like there's no end to all these little things that derail what can be great. And I'm just sitting here just with my, everybody with their tiny violins playing, right? It's like, oh, it's so hard. But yeah, it is. It is the hardest thing. And that's why there's a handful of people that can do it. And I understand that.
Yeah.
But at the end of that, it wasn't about, can I persevere? Am I able to do this? That wasn't a question. I still thought at that moment I could still go and win, even with this mindset. But it wasn't really like, I'm thinking to myself, what's the best case scenario? I go and win. Okay. But what about everything else? Everything else didn't seem like it was worth it at all at the time. And there was a deal on the table with MCR, and I'd flown down there to just get on the bike and let them have a look at me and just kind of chat with them about where everything was. And it was kind of like, what it really came down to was that, I was trying to have a second to kind of like digest the whole thing and us kind of come to terms really where we were both happy, and they were definitely, for whatever reason, in that fall of that year, they were really like, okay, we got to get it done. And I think they had a lot of pressure probably from Honda. I think maybe Honda was kind of asking for something else, and they had something else in their mind. So it was just like, it all happened so fast. If I could have went back, I would have just been like, hey, give me a week to, my daughter was 6 days old when I flew down there to do this bike test that didn't happen because I didn't have time to look at the contract. And then they're like, well, you're not riding without the contract signed. And I'm like, okay, then I'm going to fly home. My daughter's 6 days old. I'm not going to do this right now.
Yeah.
Like, this is, so.
Your headspace wasn't where it needed to be for that.
Yeah, I wasn't there, and that's not their fault, right?
No.
They're trying to put together a race team, and
Yeah.
so for this moment, I'm now, as I'm sitting here, I'm like, I would be pumped to be right back in that position right now. I'd be like, oh, cool, hey guys, let's resume, and I'd be jazzed about it. But at the time, that wasn't where I was. I'm like, I'm not feeling it. So, there was something on the table, but ultimately I wasn't ready for it. And then really what I wanted to do was kick around just some other ideas where I'm like, I'm not ready to just leave motocross and not look at a dirt bike, even though that's kind of what you want to do when you're not feeling it, right? You kind of just don't want to look at a dirt bike. I mean, I don't know how many guys I've heard, top level guys that after Ironman, they're like, I don't want to look at a dirt bike for 2 weeks. Like, I just don't want to look at one.
Yeah.
And it makes sense. You just blood, sweat, and tears all over that bike for, the calendar year, and you're tired. Like, you don't want to look at a bike. I get it. So that's where I was. But I was like, okay, let me just, not do a knee-jerk thing and just see if there's a way that I can stay in the sport and kind of do some things but without really making this violent commitment at a series that my heart may or may not be in, And so that's where I was like thinking I might do kind of what my brother's doing and start doing marketing for different companies and doing the free ride thing and doing select races. And but here's the thing, Josh is a genius with this stuff, and I'm not. That's the problem. Like he's super, super, super marketable. The way that he goes about it is nuts. Like, and he's a great promoter, and he's a great promoter of himself. And I'm none of those things. So like, if I fall ass backwards into a thing where I'm riding for somebody, in free ride and making a marketing, kind of doing a marketing position, that's definitely, like I said, an ass backwards. Like I am going to trip into that if that ever happens. It's not because of my own ability to like grow that stuff.
Yeah.
And so, but I was thinking about it, and at the time I was on the phone with Chip Mon, who I think is just a great dude. And I really wanted to do something with Chip. I'm like, hey, let's put something together where maybe we do the series, and then we kind of test the bike, and we're like, we don't have a lot of time, and so kind of the race team thing kind of more or less went by the wayside for the whole 17, obviously. And I was like, well, what if we did a half social media thing where I could pick up these sponsors and do this, and then race 3 or 4 or whatever, and whenever we get to it. And Chip was just like, yeah, for sure, man, let's do that. And then I come up with a different idea, and he's like, yeah, sure, let's do that. He was just behind. He's like, whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is rad. I'm like, if only I could have had a guy like this the whole time,
right.
kind of thing. And, so it was cool, and we did some of it, and then ultimately it just came down to me. I'm just like, okay, I've been giving this a try. I want to race, but I don't want to race. And it's just like, I felt my head was spinning. I was like, I felt like I can't really nail down what it is I'm doing or why I'm doing it. So I kind of just need to do none of that and just be a normal guy for a while.
Yeah, and I dig that.
It worked out for me. It really did. Because now I'm not afraid of being a normal guy, which I never was, because I've always felt like I am just a normal guy. And just, if I do normal stuff, I'd be happy. And I was, and I am. So it's great because I got to see that. And now I'm not scared of when the whole professional motorcycle riding thing is over again, which it will be here in a few years, even if I did everything perfect, right? So,
right.
I have another 5 years if I do everything right and don't have another big, injury like this one. So I'm not afraid of going back to the normal thing, and I also. It was good for me because I developed the hunger again to go do it. And I realized you don't realize until you start from zero somewhere that you have, like, I keep telling everybody this, is like, I have a PhD in motocross. More than the years required to have a PhD in motocross. I have my doctorate in motocross, right?
Yeah, I like it.
But if you do something else, you don't. You don't have anything. You're starting from zero, which I love learning, and I don't have a problem doing that. And now I know that. But you still have a PhD in motocross. Like, I still have a PhD in motocross. So why? So to me, it's almost like I really do feel like I should use it before it's gone. I really do. And not because of, that's somebody's opinion. Like, that's just how I feel. And I don't think that it's wrong to try. It's a really, really stacked division, the division I have to go race in.
You ain't
You have
lying.
the most amount of champions, the most amount of just impressive people. Watching Chase win the other night, I'm like, God damn, that dude's solid, man. You know,
Yeah.
that's what you got to be right now. But that's exciting. I'm like, I was watching that going, I think that I can be that solid. I really do. But it's going to be a matter of putting it all together and finding where that's possible.
Yeah, it
know,
makes sense. Sure.
And all that. So it's, but I really do more than ever right this minute as I'm sitting here with my stupid bum shoulder watching these races. It's like I'm really, really jazzed about it. I love the idea of going and using my talent and doing this. But, you know, obviously now I have a little bit of waiting to do.
Yeah, I love everything you're saying, dude. I am so jazzed on this interview. We don't have a lot of time left with you. Scotty wanted to ask you something.
I was just gonna say it's just kind of funny how like how you've gone through this whole thing, and it's like it's kind of we're all the same because me and Darkside here are your normal 9-to-5ers. We have these normal jobs, and then we do what we're doing right now as that little different step onto the other side and see how that we want to be as part of this industry as much as we can, so that's why we do this. And it's kind of cool to see you are in that industry and you wanted to see how our life was, and I think that's going to be good for you in the long run.
Yeah, that's what's
however long you stay in the motocross industry doing whether racing or whatever you go to after this, it's cool that you had that life experience, and I think a lot of people need to do that. J-Mart did it, Zach did it. A lot of those guys had that kind of time where whether it was injury prone or not, they had that time to have that life experience, and I think it changes their perspective.
Realize I want to go racing.
Yeah, I want to go back racing. So I just thought it was cool.
The most impressive thing, though, that you're saying that I'm taking away is that you realize, and this is good for your wife and your daughter, that I'm fine when I don't race. Like, I'm ready for quote unquote regular life. If that means working a 9-to-5, I'm cool with that, and that's the most difficult thing for a lot of the guys in your career, right? You got the limelight, and you just said you don't really care about all that, but the limelight, the fans, the money, the superstardom, the magazines, that's hard to step away from. But you're like, yeah, I'm cool.
Yeah, no, but that's like my message to these other guys. It's like, dude, understand that when this is done and you can settle into it, that's when you let the hair down, man. Like that's when you get to enjoy spoils of what you've done, the head start you have on life now. If you're a guy like Bill Photos who totally can 100% retire right at 24, I mean, that's one thing, right? But if you're a guy, it's going to be a lot harder to do that for the guys coming up from here on out because there's so much talent. You're not getting the Carmichael smoke everybody all day long, make the millions and get out.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
It's really, really, really difficult. It's just more stats. There's more talent. But that's what I have to say to those guys, man. Like, don't worry, it's all cool. Like, you're gonna get done with this, and then you're gonna do something else. And there's always money too. If you're a motivated person, and you want to make money. You can make money doing it. You can really make good money doing anything.
Right.
If
True.
you really after it. And I'm really big into investing, and I am really big into building things, and I'm really big into real estate. The idea of all that, and to me, it's like I could go in theory. If I set myself up even a little bit better, then that just opens up some more doors for me. Like if I want to go and just take a year to go build a couple houses and flip them, like I can do that, and then that's really like actually what I dig. Like I find the most I just really like looking at something that's not there, and just from the ground up doing something. I really, really dig that. It's more fun to me than almost anything. So it's like, if you have some sort of interest, there's going to be money there for you. So there's not a whole lot. I feel like guys are really high stress on it. I feel like that's why they don't have as much fun in the sport as they could. Like they could have so much more fun if they didn't trip about the end as much. Right. So that's where I'm at right now, which is a great place to be, honestly. And like to this point, I've learned so much. Like I really wish that I could just inject what I know into my 20, let's just say like winter of 2014 self.
Sure, of course.
We all do, man. We all do.
Right. It's so crazy what you collect and on accident too. It's like I've collected so much knowledge in the last 2 years on accident that like now I'm jazzed to go use it. So
Awesome.
yeah, I mean that's where I'm at, man. Unfortunately I have to sit here and I get to just sit here and bench race about my life and where I am with a bum shoulder. All I really want to do now after all this time is go ride. And the fact that I was literally 1 day away from flying Sally and showing up
Yeah.
for press day, have obviously the malfunction and the crash and it's just like, gosh damn it, it was so
Yeah.
close. And so it's a bummer. And I hate the fact that everybody always seems to be in the dark with me as well. And I don't really like that because it's funny. Like if you saw me at a bar, you just know everything about me.
Yeah.
But I don't go. But I have such it is like nails on a chalkboard for me to write like what's going on in my life is like a social media update. I just hate it so much. Yeah. So anyway,
Hey.
that's my advice to everybody in the industry. If you really want to know the story, you're just gonna have to bump into it somewhere.
I dig it, man. Again, Justin, I'm so thankful that you came back on. I know it's been a while, and I mean, I've always really enjoyed talking to you and visiting with you, talking about music and all the good stuff. So, I hate that we got to let you go. We got a couple other guests
It's
lined
all
up.
good, man. Let's do it again. Let's just do it again soon. Let's not have such a big time in between, and we'll bring something else up.
I'll hold you to it, man. I appreciate it.
Oh,
you got one
real
more?
quick, I just wanted to ask, have you and your brother ever raced each other in the same premier class before? Like actually, like an actual professional thing, not just like a.
So not really. No, we've had a one-off race where we raced it. We raced it Monster Cup in 2014 when I jumped up to a KTM 450 that time.
Mm-hmm.
Man, other than that, no. We have a vintage race every year at the Eugene track here. We do a race for the cure, and we battled so hard on 94 and 95 252 strip.
That's awesome.
And I went 2-1, so no, it's not a big deal or anything, but I went 2-1. And we battled hard there, and it's funny, we race each other obviously here and there when it's funny, me and Josh are never seem to be at our peak doing the same thing at the same time.
Yeah.
And it's like, because when when you guys see this He'll Ride It video, it's nuts. But he does this big jump, and I don't want to reveal too much about it, but he did this huge jump over this bowl with his park, and he lands, and he messes his foot up, and that he rode in France hurt with his. He has a bad foot always, right? And then he has this one good foot. Well, his one good foot got hurt.
Oh.
So when he raced in France, he had the bad good foot, and then. So I was like in the full swing of my training. I was really chomping at the bit to go racing, and I was really ready when he came out to ride with me in South Carolina. So he was like not quite there, and and then other times it's like I'm just getting back on the bike or whatever, and he's in full swing. So it's just we're never like me and Josh never have seemed to be at our peak at the same time doing the same thing. To like answer the age old question of like which Hill brother is like fast, so. Maybe someday it'll happen. I was
gonna say, hopefully we get to see it because I've been looking forward to that.
Josh, man, he's such a savage. It's like watching him. I get so much joy just watching him go from literally absolute zero. Like a few days before, he decided or he needed to leave for California to go race with Tedder. It's like he was like, okay, I'm gonna go do this. I'm like, dude, you haven't been able to do any. You're hurt. So. And he's just ready to do it all. Like he's just he's the definition of the anytime, anywhere, like, motocross rider. And it's so badass.
Yeah.
I wish I could be like in a lot of other ways, man. But yeah.
Awesome. Justin, we'll get you back on again for sure. Thank you, man. Means a lot.
Absolutely, buddy. Anytime.
Okay. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Talk to you later.
That's it. All right. We appreciate Justin Hill coming on. I also want to thank X Brand Goggles. X Brand Goggles have grown into the choice goggle company for many of the top racers in the world. Top privateers like Kyle Chisholm, Ben LeMay, and Ryan Brees, as well as many of the top GNCC guys like Craig DeLong. Choose X Brand with multiple lines to choose from, such as EKS-S, the GOX Flatouts, and the all-new Lucid with the Wave Latch quick release lens system. you're sure to find a goggle for you at a price you won't be able to beat. Hit me up, darksidemx3 at AOL.com for some pricing, or go to your local dealer and ask for X brand supplied through WPS. All right, we'll be right back with B-Ray. Dude, all right, our next guest. First time on the Moto X Pod Show. Tonight, he is brought to you by Fly Racing. Fly Racing has been developing and innovating its gear line since 1998. Fly Racing is the only choice if you want the best. Just ask current riders Zach Osborne, RJ Hampshire, Jalik Swall, Damon Bradshaw, Justin Brayton, and Carson Mumford. Check out your local dealerships and ask for Fly Racing, as well as the endless list of products offered by WPS. Tonight, Fly Racing brings us a guy that Scotty made his first main event in his career at San Diego, Brandon Ray, B-Ray. And before I get into this, man, I don't know that I can call you B-Ray until A-Ray gives me permission. But what's up, Brandon Ray?
Yeah, man. I'm not in any way, shape, or form related to A-Ray. I hate when people confuse me. Like, no hate to A-Ray, but I hate when people call me. And then, like, someone called me Braden Hartraft this weekend, too. So, I swear, I don't know what it is. But, I mean, even though people have the same name, don't mean that they're the same person. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, sure. Yeah, that's funny.
But, yeah, you can call me B-Ray, man. I don't care.
I was just A-Ray is one of my boys, so I got to make sure it's okay that there's a B-Ray. That's what I'm saying. I got to make sure it's okay. Now,
yeah, half the people don't even know my real name anyways. So.
Yeah. Well, if I'm being 100% honest, I didn't know really anything about you. I was at A1, and Julian's like, hey, come over and talk to B-Ray. And I remember seeing a post from the team, PRMx, about B-Ray, but I didn't know who B-Ray was. And then he introduced me, and he said, Brandon. I was like, okay, I got to figure out who this guy is, you know? And then, so if I'm being honest, I didn't know a lot about you either, dude.
It's all right, man.
Well, I want to get to know you now, man. So before we get into you making your first main, like, what's your backstory, man? Where'd you grow up? How'd you get into moto? How'd you get into Supercross? Like, what was your progression?
Okay, yeah. I mean, I started. My dad, he used to race when he was, back in his day.
Yeah.
And he got me a dirt bike, and the very first time I rode it was the day before I turned 3 years old. And he never pushed me to race. Like he didn't want to be that one, that parent to push, their kid into doing something that they don't want to do. So I didn't start racing until I was 5, and it was actually my own. It was like I wanted to do it. Like I went to my dad. I was like, "Hey, man, like I want to race." And from then on, I've just been progressing over the years, and moving up classes. And in the start of 2021, I started racing A class, which is amateur pro.
Sure.
And then what?
Oh, I said sure. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh yeah. And then through that year, I mean, I did have the best year in racing. As I wasn't really never the top amateur, but I was always pretty fast, and I didn't have the support. My dad's disabled, and he's on Social Security and everything. So it's always been rough, but we've always been able to make it happen. And I did pretty good at Washougal, and I got I did pretty good at Washougal, and everyone's like, "Hey man, like you should hit this PRMx team. Like, they're a pretty good team out of Canada." So I actually followed them on Instagram, and then they followed me back, and we started going back and forth, and then I got on the team, and he's like, "Yeah, I want you to race Supercross this year." And I never rode Supercross. I never rode an actual Supercross track before
At all.
And my only thing, the closest thing to Supercross I did was the Supercross Futures. And people can go back and forth about the tracks, but I mean it's a big difference between Supercross Futures and the actual Supercross track. And so I got onto an actual Supercross track about 3 months ago.
Wow.
And then
that's crazy. 3 months ago, dude. Yeah. Me and my co-host who's in studio, Scotty, we ride, but nowhere near your level. Like, it would take me 3 years to get good at Supercross.
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely see it. The people with more experience, and because Supercross is technical, man. Like,
yeah,
I've been struggling at it, and the rhythms kind of came okay, and then but the whoops, man, and everyone can see it. The whoops are hard. I mean, even for the people with experience this year, they're building the whoops gnarly. So
This year has been, they've been massive.
Yeah, that was one of my questions. Was going to be how gnarly the whoops are this year, and like how like what do you have to do mentally to lap after lap coming through and hit those? Because like guys like you know, come and ride at a local track with us, and you were like, oh my god, they're so fast.
Yeah.
But then like we watch it on TV, and it looks like you know, especially in the qualifying, like the first time a couple of the B practice guys go through it, and you're like, it looks like novice class because those whoops are so huge.
Yeah.
So like. So it kind of just puts everything in perspective. So like, what is it like to go through those whoops lap after lap after lap?
I mean, it's a big mental part, and you know, I struggle in whoops, so I'm not the best one to ask about that because me, I just try to get through them no matter what. If I have to double through them, half the time I roll. It looks like, I mean, if they had a D class, I'd be in D class for the whoops for sure. But.
I love it. That's funny that you say that. So, I'm sure you've heard of PRMx, Steve Mathis.
Yeah.
I do a show for him, so I listen live every Monday night and I watch on the YouTube channel. And there's a chat, obviously, while the show's going on. And somebody asked me who was coming on my show tonight, and I mentioned you, and I don't remember the guy's name, but he's like, hey, ask B-Ray if he's gotten any better in the whoop. So obviously it's somebody that knows you or knows of your progress. You still trying to figure him out.
Yeah, I mean, you know, especially after this week, when I made the night show, I kind of got some good TV time, and they showed me going through the whoops, which I didn't want them to do, and now my DMs are blowing up with people, you know. And I appreciate their help, you know, but like, you know, they're trying to, you know, they're telling me how I should go through them and stuff. And I'm like, dude, like I try so hard, you know, and, you know, I try though. Like, that's the thing. I, you know, I'm out here, I'm working on them every week. But like I said, I only got 3 months and only 2 of them I've had on whoops because the first month I didn't even do whoops because they didn't want me to get hurt on them. You know what I mean? Because I went through and I wadded myself through them like the first week I tried them. So, like, hey, we'll take it easy on the whoops for a second, but
wow,
it's funny that people are messaging you that are about to do the whoops that probably never even come
never
close
have,
to setting a set of those.
It's
I look at I look on their Instagrams and they're riding like a 02 kick 125 or something like that, you know.
Shift into fourth and hammer.
Hey, the way I go through whoops is hang a left and go around them and jump back on. Yeah.
So like motocross, you know, that's why I grew up racing.
Sure.
They have like the rollers, and like I was actually really fast through the rollers, and like I would catch a lot of people in there, and I tried hitting the whoops like that, and you can't do that.
No.
Yeah.
Total different bike setup. You know, technique. I actually have gone through a quote unquote set of Supercross whoops at my buddy's place in the past when I was. In 06, first of all, Brandon, I'm old, man. I'm 46 or 47. I don't even remember. But,
really?
When I was racing in like 06, 07 in the plus 30 class, I was riding a lot. My buddy had an arena cross set of whoops, and I was like, all right, man, I feel good. I was in a groove for a few months, riding all the time, and it's like I started going through them third gear, you know, and I was doing okay. And my buddy, who's an A rider, was like, fourth, dude, come out of the corner, shift up. All right, and I started blitzing through them, and I actually got through them a couple times, like good, maybe 2 times, and I called it. I was like, I'm done. I don't ever want to go through these again. That's it.
You only
That's
go down from here.
I would hate to have to do that every lap. Like, no, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, that's to get you in and off on a good note, you know. But
Yeah, exactly.
yeah. You guys.
No, I just said, yeah, exactly, man. Yeah, go ahead. You tell more of your story, man. How did it feel getting into the night show? Like, was your goal coming into the season? Like, did you expect yourself to make a main? I mean, not a night show, a main.
Yeah. I mean, coming into the season, you know, I was really nervous, but you know, I wanted to set small goals for myself because I never raced for a Supercross before. So I didn't want to, you know, get bummed out if I didn't, you know, hit a goal. But, you know, I set my first goal, which was make it to a night show. And, you know, and A1, I was so nervous. I, like, wanted to throw up all day and just feel a lot of stress on myself. And I didn't even make it to the night show, which was, you know, I'm a better rider than that. I should be making it to the night show, you know. And, dude, like, honestly, I cried about that. I was like, damn, like, this sucks. I, like, let the whole team down, let myself down, you know, and everything. And then, so Oakland came around, and I live like 15 minutes from Oakland. And a bunch of my family and friends and just a bunch of people I know went there. And I made it to the night show, and I was pumped. and I didn't make it to the main. So I was like, all right, like, you know, we're stepping up another step.
Yeah.
And it definitely built my confidence up. Like, everyone could see it. Like, that week when we were training, we ride at Lake Elsinore, and like, I was feeling good. I was working on my whoops all day and everything, and then we came to San Diego last weekend, and I was a little bit better in the whoops. You know, like, it showed, like, it will show. You know what I mean? When you're working on something, it will show you progressing. And I made it to the main event, and man, I was pumped on that one. But you know, I don't want to think too much of it because I want it to be a normal thing.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm pumped on it, but I should be making the mains. Like, that's like, now that I did it, I know I can do it. So I'm gonna keep working hard to continue doing it. So now my next goal is top 15.
Okay.
I got 19, and I mean, I came out like 6th or 7th on the start in the main event, but then once I started getting lapped, I would start rolling everything. I just wanted to get out of the people's way, like their way.
Yep.
And you're supposed to get out of their way, but you shouldn't be rolling stuff because it's dangerous to both people. But I was like, when they came around, I was kind of scared. I was like, holy crap! Like, I don't want to hit someone or get in their way and be that one guy.
Yep.
You know what I mean? That messed up. So.
That's great, dude. I totally get that. I mean, that's anytime I've been on the track and there's faster guys, like, and they're going by that fast, it's you get nervous almost and scared because you're like, oh man, one little mistake and I could clean this dude out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially to those whoops. I mean, a lot of pileups happen, and like where another rider hit him.
Sure. Talk about Team PRMx and Julian. I mean, you kind of talked about social media and hitting them up, but Julian is so good at helping people out. I love that guy.
Yeah, Julian, I mean, he's super cool, and I came down here and he just helps me out as much as I can, and he runs a tight ship, like with me, like he expects me to do good, but he does realize I'm a rookie, and
Yep.
which helps out a lot on my part too, because I don't have the that constant like. You need to do better. You need to do this. You need to do that. He realizes that, I'm learning, and he can see that I'm progressing, so he's happy with me. And, man, like, he's just so willing to help everyone out. And, he took a big, what's it called? A big, what's the word
like
I'm
a
looking
chance?
for? A big chance with me because, I never raced, pro super. I never raced, really professional. I've only done one. I did Hangtown. I just went and did Hangtown just to do it. So, he took a big chance with me, and I appreciate that, big time.
Absolutely. Yeah, he's a good dude. We're talking to Brandon Ray on the Race Tech Privateer profile. Scotty, what you got, man?
Yeah, okay, so, you kind of mentioned that you were a couple of things got you nervous and stuff, and I know at your younger kid, you may look at that as like a negative thing, but I just want you to like kind of know that the fact that you are getting nervous about something is shows that you care. And honestly, I don't buy the whole thing about when guys say like, "Oh, I don't get nervous. I don't let the fear change how I ride," or stuff like that. Like, it's not really true. If you're not nervous about this, then that means you don't care. And so the fact that you have this nervousness is showing that you have a heart for the sport. And so I really like to see that. And I don't let that nervousness get you discouraged. But kind of on race day, what do you get the most excited about? What are the kind of the thoughts that goes through your head, the kind of, the nerves that do happen?
Yeah, I mean, dude, I'm excited every time I get to ride my dirt bike. I've always loved doing it, and I can't, a lot of people, I can't believe they get burned out on riding and whatnot. Never have, and I know I never will. But I mean, I get nervous every time I race, actually, because like you said, I do care, and I just want to do the best I can, and like even at local races, I'll get nervous because like even like I'll be like, I don't know, I just like you said, I just want to do the best I can.
Yeah, dude, I again, I told you at the beginning of this, I didn't know much about you, but I very quickly through this interview become a fan of yours. I love your excitement and your youthfulness, and like that's just what you said. You're not burnt out. Like, you clearly love racing your dirt bike, and
yes, sir.
It's also new to you. I love it, man. So we don't have a lot of time with you tonight. I'm about to wrap this thing up, but what I do want to do now that I've got to know you a little bit is I've been writing the privateer profiles for Racer X, and I want to do one on you. Maybe in a week or so, I'll call you back. We'll get some time. We'll do like an hour and just visit, and I'll write an article on you, man, if you're cool with that.
Okay. Yeah, man, that's awesome, man. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
We'll revisit a lot of what we just talked about, but we'll probably get in a little deeper because, yeah, you got a great personality, man, and I'm digging it a lot. So I apologize that we don't have more time with you tonight, but
no, it's fine.
Yeah, we will. Scotty and I both will be at Glendale, and we're definitely going to come by the truck and say hi.
All right, thank you. Yeah, man. Yeah, definitely come by and just just remind me who you guys are.
Okay, no problem, Brandon. Take care, Brandon, and good luck, man. Get that top 15 this weekend.
Yeah, I'm gonna try my hardest, man. Thank you guys.
Right.
I appreciate it.
Yep, we'll be pulling for you. See you soon.
All right.
All right.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Brandon Ray, B-Ray. I'm going to give him B-Ray now. I like the kid. He can have B-Ray even if A-Ray doesn't like it.
Yeah, I don't know if there's. I was trying to think of what could be another name that would be close but not the same. And there's really
He's already got B-Ray. That's
really
what they're calling
like
him. So it's
the picture he has on here. It says B-Ray. So.
Yeah, it's locked in. Isn't that his Instagram? What's his Instagram? Do you have it open?
I just took a picture from
that's
the
fine.
internet.
You guys go check it, but just search him if you don't follow him. Brandon Ray comes up.
I just searched.
I think
Ray,
it's
pops
at
up.
B-Ray or something like that. But I like that kid. How many times do I say that? Like everybody? Have we ever
He's
interviewed?
a really cool dude.
Yeah, have we ever interviewed anybody and I went, that sucks. I don't want to do that again. Anyway, that kid was cool, man. We're gonna take another commercial break, and I screwed up the whole intro on this thing. I brought him in with Blood Lubricants, but it's the Race Tech Privateer Spotlight.
Yeah.
I introduced him through Blood Lubricants. I got to get.
Way to go, man.
It's a new segment.
Yeah.
So I apologize to Checkers, but that was the Race Tech Privateer Spotlight with B-Ray. As we told you, Race Tech is the world's largest aftermarket suspension modification company. You guys know all about Race Tech engine work. Visit racetech.com for more info and use promo code MOTOXPOD to save. Race Tech is privateer proven by supporting SGB Honda, AJE Gas, Team Solitaire, and vets like Mike Alessi, Ben LeMay, and off-road master Cody Webb. Race Tech is helps us out. They're a big sponsor of us. And they're doing the privateer spotlight. I will keep that. I'll get that fixed from now on. What is a Moto X Pod show without me messing something up?
I think it kind of gives us character.
Yeah, I guess. Whether it's good character, bad character, I don't know.
Good press is press, man.
But I also want to thank Torque One Racing. Torque One Racing is a Texas-based company that is providing high-quality, economical performance parts. Check out TorqueOneRacing.com to see their complete line of products, including the Attack Handlebar, Defy Lock-On Grips, and Vengeance Levers. Johnny and Torque One Racing have a passion for the racing industry and have been a long-time supporter of this show. Follow them on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, and support those that support us. All right, we'll be right back with Derek Kelley. And we'll knock it out.
Sounds good.
All right. All right, our last guest of the night is one of our favorite guests. He's a regular. He is brought to you tonight by True Fusion Sports for the True Fusion's Derek Kelley check-in. True Fusion Sports was created out of a necessity for products designed for recovery and performance at the highest level with natural anti-inflammatory ingredients. I'll never say these things right. Like arnica, Montana flower, and magnesium sulfate. Well, I guess that was pretty easy. Their soaks are topical. Their soaks and topical relief pain, mend injuries, and allow muscles to perform at their highest level. Use code MOTOXPOD10 to save at TrueFusionSports.com. That's true with no E. Tonight, True Fusions brings us one of the owners of True Fusion, Derek Kelley. What up, buddy?
How's it going, guys?
It's going good, man. Got to be going good for you, man. I know you got to be much happier with your ride and your results at San Diego, man. It's been a couple, I think Oakland wasn't great for you, but
right.
Steps in the right direction.
That's exactly what it is. I mean, I'm not completely satisfied with how it went. Like, I shouldn't have tipped over and gave up top 10, but
yeah.
It was definitely a good day and a step in the right direction for sure.
Yeah, man. I mean, it would be bad if you were content without win. So that's the competitor in you. That's good that you want more. I think a lot of people – now, look, I know you hate talking about fantasy, but I'm in fantasy chats and I'm on some, in different things. And some of the guys are like, dude, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to bite the bullet. I'm going for Derek Kelley today. And I'm like, yeah, he's going to be good. He told me he's going to be good. He's going to be good. All right, we're going Derek Kelley. And, during the race, everybody's commenting and – and there's, he's like, oh, damn it, Derek Kelley maybe dropped a spot. And they're mad. I'm like, dude, he's good. He's good. He's good. And you rode your ass off, dude. It was awesome. everybody in
Thank you.
fantasy that picks you was happy. I know how much that means to you. But no, really though, man, you just like I was watching you in qualifying, you know, and I think I texted you, and you know Dan talked about you a little bit, but you look good, dude. Like your quarter speed looked good. You just you look like you were flowing better than you have the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, definitely. I felt like obviously training you ride a lot more loose, and I felt like I rode more like I do during the week, which was really good. And I just hope I figured out. I'm pretty sure I figured out that I just need to ride like I do on the weekday and let it all go and just ride like it's a normal day.
So it wasn't anything that you found in a setting or a clamp change. It's just, which you probably don't have a lot of opportunity to do that during the week, I'm sure, but
right.
It's really just finding a comfort spot.
Yeah, it's just a mental thing. I just need to flip the switch and just go ride. I think it was nice to be. I mean, obviously, B practice isn't where you want to be, but it was cool to kind of be out there by myself almost and get some good laps in and yeah. I mean, I qualified really good. Like sitting after the first qualifying, I was 6th, and I mean the track got a lot better like in the second qualifying. So. Like right after B practice, so I was kind of bummed on that. But still ended up top 10. But
I don't remember how much faster your lap times were than the other guys in B practice, but like you need to be in A practice.
Yeah, it was about 3 seconds.
Yeah, I knew it was quite a bit. But go ahead, Scotty.
I know. So it's cool to see that you're getting to where you want to go. Like how did you because you didn't seem like you were really doing anything wrong, and just kind of everything just didn't work out. So to finally get that step in the right direction, like what has kind of gone through, and like what have you kind of taken from this to move forward, and like how have you kept your drive and determination?
Yeah, it's definitely disheartening when you feel like you're riding good. Like I qualified good both Oakland and Anaheim, and I had a pretty good heat race in Anaheim. It's just things happen, and just mentally, I've just tried to really let everything go and focus on the riding and not really the outcome or the past outcomes for sure. Just trying to keep my head up and move forward. I mean, you can't really change the past, so there's no sense in stressing on it or being bummed out.
Yeah. Talk about the tracks, man. Sitting at home, the media guys were all talking about how big the whoops are and how much more aggressive these tracks seem to be than years past. Like there was no build your way into the season. Like the whoops are scary, dude.
For sure. Yeah, they definitely they haven't taken it easy on us per se for the whoops. Like that's not really a bad thing for me. Like I feel like that's one of my strong suits is the whoops.
Yeah.
So that's not something that I like it because it separates. You know, if you have easy whoops, like everybody does the same rhythms, everybody does the same corners, and especially some like Oakland. And last night really was one line, so you're only really passing people on that Dragon's Back and in the whoop. So if you don't have big whoops, there's nowhere to pass.
Okay, yeah. That Dragon Back, man, watching that during qualifying, I was like, ooh, somebody's going to go launch that berm, because that was a big gap off the Dragon over the single. And then okay, if you clip it and whiskey a little bit, like you are launching into the stratosphere off that, because there was no nets.
Yeah, there was one time where it they didn't pan the camera through that Dragon's Back. It just showed the guys coming by it, and it was like a blur. And I was like, oh my god, it's so fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was walking the track. That was really the only place. Like all the rhythms were really simple. Like it was just double, triple, double, or on, off, triple. Like it was really simple, except for that Dragon's Back. And I was kind of stressing on it, but definitely watching like C practice, and then some of the guys in B were not very committed on it, and it kind of bit them a few times in qualifying and free practice. It just came down to like you had to hit it wide open and not check off of it.
Yeah, that seems simple enough, Scotty. Just hit it wide open.
Well,
that's basically what I told myself.
6 feet later.
That's what made I guess it's kind of like which one of the whoops have been the hardest, because to me this past weekend at San Diego, it seemed like the whoops got bigger at the end, but you also had to, you weren't speeding into a bowl corner, you were checking up to a flat corner, so Which one was the hardest?
They were tricky this weekend, but like I've only been racing for a couple of years now, and out of all the main events I've done, these whoops for me were the easiest because I could still they were still pretty much together. Like I could actually get up on top of them and skim them still during the main event. So I actually felt like these were the easiest compared to like the whoops at Anaheim right after the finish line were probably the gnarliest one, I'd say.
Yeah,
they looked
those ones were just so peaky.
Yeah,
you know.
It almost even took a flagger out with Malcolm.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. All right. So, what do you need besides the mental stuff? What is it? What's the next step? Like, how do we get top 10?
Definitely a start.
Okay.
I think like I had a horrible start. Like other than those guys being on the ground, I was last place around that first turn. So I have the speed to work in a top 10, even with a bad start. I just need to one, get a good start, and then if I don't get a good start, just stay on two wheels and like no tip overs and stuff like that where it loses time. Like I had a really good main event consistent speed. So like all my laps were within 1 to 2 seconds other than that one tip over. So I just need to stay on two wheels and get a good start, and that's the results will come.
Absolutely, dude. Derek, short check-in tonight, but like every couple weeks when you come on, man, it's always a pleasure to talk to you. I love getting to watch you ride, even though I wish I could pick you every week because I feel like from now on you're going to be good points. But, dude, it's
if something happens, I don't want to be getting any DMs saying I screwed their fantasy team because
it's going to happen. Just ignore it, dude. That's all you can do.
It.
Dude, okay.
No, it doesn't bother me. It's just hilarious to me because like I just lost all this money and all this stuff from the weekend, and I'm all beat up.
We don't care about that. We care about our points.
I know.
Do you know what's on the line?
Nothing.
Like, no, that's not true. There are free bikes on the line. Like, dude, the winner of
You're already
fantasy
getting a free bike.
Okay, in general, I'm not blowing him out on DMs. I don't do that. But the people that are like, dude, I could win. You know, there's free YZ 450s in. Like,
well, that's not my fault.
I know none of that matters to you, but there are people that take this so. Hell, I take it serious because it's fun.
Well, pick better.
Yeah, well, dude, that's the thing. Okay, so TJ's not in here tonight. TJ, one of my co-hosts, he's like, it's a game of skill. No, it's not. Like, you could take.
It's a lot of luck, honestly.
It is. You could take the most consistent guy every week, whoever that is. Let's say it's Cooper Webb. Every week, but the week you pick him, the bike blows up. That's not luck.
Like I got all this hate from I never really got any hate up until Oakland, and like I had a crash in the heat race, and then I got together again with somebody that wasn't even my fault, and then I crashed again in the LCQ because of something that wasn't my fault. Like it's like I may have got a bad start, but other than that, like it wasn't my riding that kept me out of the main event there. So
it's really not that with the weirdos that are, you know, I mean, I guess I'm a weirdo too, but I don't yell at the riders. The people that do that, they're just so into, like, they don't really blame you, but in the heat of the moment, like even like Dan Truman with Get Data, he's super big into it. He's like one of the guys that helped start the Pulp Fantasy League, and Jason Thomas, those guys are like, you know, there's so many things I want to say to these guys. You know,
not going to blame.
Dan could pick. He's helping Cooper Webb right now, and if he picks Cooper and Cooper shits the bed, he's going to tell Cooper like, "Fuck you, you suck." You know, we need to cut that out. I shouldn't have said the F-bomb. But
8:23 p.m.
But anyway, it's not you. You're just going to have to ignore it, really, or.
I honestly, I don't even care. It's just funny. It's just perplexing to me, honestly. Like I just get the mindset.
That's because you don't play.
Yeah, I'm with you, Derek. I don't play either, and it kind of it's just.
See, that's because you don't play.
I get the being upset about like having a bad round or the riders, but I don't get the DM the people like to say like it's not like it affects me in any ways. Like I just think it's funny. Like,
yeah, it's weird. I don't know how to go ahead.
I did have one quick question.
Okay.
Out of the guys that you're kind of your group of guys, your closest competitors, who so far this season has kind of surprised you?
There's a lot of people riding really good. I think Walsh last night, Dylan Walsh.
Yeah.
He definitely stepped it up. Like seeing him in practice before A1 and all that stuff. Like he's definitely stepped it up, especially at San Diego. and just everybody's just riding really good. And I mean, Brandon Ray made the main event. There's just people that are making main events pretty quick, and I mean, everybody's fast. Like, everybody trains hard, so nothing's really a surprise. It's just when people kick it into gear, it's nice to see.
Yeah, we just got off the phone with Brandon Ray, and he's only been riding Supercross. I think he said 3 months. Like, he's that's crazy.
He's a really talented rider.
Yeah.
I think everywhere but the whoops, he's super fast. So if I was him, I would just,
he mentioned it.
Yeah, I would just be doing laps, just hitting whoops, just hit the whoops, turn around, hit the whoops to turn around. But other than that, if he figures out the whoops, he's going to be a problem.
Yeah, we just talked about DMs for fantasy. He said I'm getting DMs from people telling me how to hit the whoops, and then I look at their profile and they're like on a 95 KX 250. So we all think we know what you guys need to do. It's just you should just like accept it and be like, all right, dude, I'm gonna do better for your fantasy. I'm sorry, you should just play into.
Well, I told one guy that DM me, he's like, oh, I thought you were good at this, and I'm disappointed at you, like all this shit. And I texted him. The only one I replied to, I was just like, oh, no worries, I'll pick you for my fantasy league next week.
That's great.
There you go,
Derek, dude. Thank you for jumping on here again, man, and look forward. We'll actually see you in Glendale, so we'll come by and say hi. But
look forward to it.
Yeah, man, kill it at A2, and stay safe, man. Thank you.
Sounds good. Talk to you later.
All right, buddy. Talk to you soon. All right.
Yeah.
All right, that is the True Fusion Sports. Derek Kelley, check in.
Yeah.
Cool. So that was a good show.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously my hemming and hawing and making mistakes and I got to cut that F-bomb out. But you guys won't know that because I'm going to try to go find it and cut it out.
They'll know it now because unless you're going to cut that
that was
part
out.
That
was a big F-bomb.
Yeah.
All right, I want to thank all of our sponsors, Cherubies USA, Race Tech, Fly Racing, X-Brand Goggles, Works Connection, Torque One Racing, R Jerky, Berm Lords Graphics and Jersey ID, Shock Socks, Williams Motor Works, Extreme Colors, Blood Lubricants. You guys got to go hit up Extreme Colors, man. You guys need... There's no way you don't want a custom painted helmet. Email XK for Extreme Colors Helmet Painting. XK Helmet Painting at gmail.com. He sells his helmets. He full custom paint jobs for $395. If you tell me you're a Moto-X-Pod show listener, he'll knock $50 off. You'll get a one-of-a-kind helmet. There's a couple sitting on the table. I guess you can see them on camera that he's done for me. So anyway, yeah, hit those guys up. Blood Lubricants, Power Band Racing, True Fusion Sports. Do that too. If you want to help these privateers out, rjerky.com, eatrjerky.com, and True Fusion Sports. Derek Kelley is a part owner in True Fusion Sports, and they've got a lot of great products. True Fusion, TRU, fusionsports.com. Use promo code MotoXPod10 to get you some cream, some healing cream. Like what is I got right here? The rapid cooling cream for muscle and joint relief. I love that stuff. It's awesome. I've been using it. And then again, R Jerky if you want to support the Wageman brothers and use promo code MotoXPod21. Scotty, I think that's it. We're out.
Yep.
All right, we're out. We'll be back next week, as far as I know, unless something crazy happens, because I am going to see Tool Monday night.
So we are going to do a show.
As of now, there is a show next week. I have. Let me think about this. Joseph Allen, the guy that's been doing the commentating on the floor guy.
Oh, okay.
He was on America's Got Talent. He's from Texas. He raced, and he's been doing like the floor announcing. He's doing a little bit of stuff during Race Day Live. He's coming on, and I have a couple of lined up, but off the top of my head, I don't remember who I've talked to.
Yeah,
so,
I think who did I see him talk to? It was I can't remember who talked to.
We'll make sure everything's locked in before next week. But that's it for this episode, and we'll talk to you guys soon.